You're listening to the Brilliant Breakthroughs Podcast, episode number 44 with Stacy, Kaat.
Hi, small business owners. Welcome to Brilliant Breakthroughs Podcast, where we focus on creating brilliant breakthroughs for the small business owner. FYI, that's also the same name of the number one best-selling book for small business and entrepreneurship. The good news is you can find this book in paperback form as well as ebook. Just so you know which one it is on Amazon, it's Brilliant Breakthroughs for the Small Business Owner. Fresh perspectives on profitability, people, productivity, and finding peace in your business. And just so you know, if you're listening to this after November 2018, the book that we're referencing in this particular podcast is the pretty blue one. That sounds so funny when I say that, but it will be important to say because there'll be another one soon. So, hi, rock stars of small business. You make the world go round, and I want to share with you. My name is Maggie Monken. I'm the anthology leader of this great book that we've been talking about. And all that means is I'm the one who decided to rally up a couple folks and create something really awesome for you. But today we are honored to have Stacy Kaat, a number one Amazon bestselling author, with us today to talk to us about your business, and in particular, how people matter in your business. And she does it in a very unique way about talking about your headshot and how it can attract the right customers and people to you. So welcome, Stacy.
Thank you for having me, Maggie.
Are you ready to play a little?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, let's have some fun with this. Everyone, Stacy's chapter is the fourth one, and it's titled Why Your Headshot May Be a Turnoff and How to Turn It On. So I think this is probably a fun topic. Stacy, you covered so much in your chapter. And I know that it gets a little crazy because there's always more to cover.
Right.
Okay. And you know that. But
Right.
people sometimes get confused as to what we do because we share so much and so many different things with them, because we understand what our expertise is part of an equation that makes their whole business operate successfully.
Right.
So I want to pull back all the conversations that we've had, and we've had I think 4 or 5 other podcasts already with you, and get to the core of it. You ready for this?
Sure.
Dun, 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 dun. The first question I have for you is, what do you really do? Because I think people might not understand that yet.
Well, I'm a photographer, so people usually ask me questions like, will you photograph my baby or my dog or
A
my family?
wedding.
Or do you do senior pictures? And I used to do that. But my main focus really is I help people build their business personality with pictures. Okay.
Hmm.
So pictures are remembered 3 times more than words.
Okay.
And they also create an emotional connection with the viewer, and it makes them feel like they know you. All right. When they feel like they know you, it leads them into looking further at your products or services. So, and then if they see your message, that can lead to like and trust. And of course, that could lead into them doing business with you. So your headshot's really your first impression. Other pictures create more impressions of you that people can connect with emotionally and learn more about you.
Cool. So you really help us express what we're doing in our business.
Right.
Who we are.
A
Probably more who we are, right?
little bit more of, what is our strength? A little bit of our personality, because, people work with people, right? They always want to know, like, and trust you. So how can we get that feeling of meeting you in person, that connection that happens when we meet in person, and put that on a piece of paper and make it a photograph, or put it online and make it a picture? So there's a lot that goes into that.
Okay.
But maybe those are not the details that should be talked about, really. It's more the benefit of the result.
There you go. Okay. So you said that you did all this different type of photography once upon a time, and then you shifted to this. So why do you do this?
Well, I think, it takes less than 6 seconds for someone to form an opinion about you based on your appearance. So when I
Okay.
first started my business back up, I got on LinkedIn and I saw all of these terrible headshots. And I wanted to shout, "Let me help you!" You're not doing yourself a favor here. So, and really, I like making people look and feel great about their appearance because it builds confidence. And I did this for 10 years as a hairstylist. So I understood what it does to people.
Okay.
People
So,
walk away a different, with a lot more confidence when they get a headshot that they really love, that really represents them.
okay. Now that makes a lot of sense because when you look at something like LinkedIn, you see a ton of photos, and then it always perplexes me why people don't put their photo up.
That's
That's a different conversation.
another conversation.
But more importantly, to know that you have an image up that reflects who you are,
Mm-hmm.
and you feel confident sharing it with other people, and that when you meet, when you say, hey, let's meet, they have an idea what you look like because your image isn't like 20 years old either, which is
Well,
a,
yeah.
a crazy little thing, right?
Well, it is a crazy little thing because I bet you everyone that's listening could say that that's happened to them, where they met someone online and then met them in person and they didn't look anything like their photograph anymore.
Yeah.
It's a weird kind of a disconnect feeling that you get, I think, when that happens. Or when you see multiple pictures of people that, some are old, some are newer, there's all these different pictures. It's confusing because you kind of go, is that the same person? And if you're not thinking at all, you don't think they are. And then you might have missed out on something that they, like online, something that they said, something that they posted. Whereas if you're following somebody, you know what they look like, you want to see their post because you like what they post and they have the same picture everywhere. Now you're going to, it makes you more visible to use that same picture. People will then see that same picture everywhere.
Congruency.
Congruency.
Yeah.
Yes.
Being consistent. Okay, so I get that. And I totally get what you're saying because I was somewhere where I was at an event and a woman presented, and I thought she was like totally awesome. And I dug what she was saying and wanted to build relationship with her one-on-one. And I got a card, and I went online and I looked, and she had this very nice professionally photography moment that she posted everywhere online, and it looks nothing like her.
Yeah.
It's a pure glamour shot, and glamour shots are cool, but I don't know if they necessarily always have the right place.
Right.
um, so it's one of those things that it's like, oh, there was this disconnect. And because I've worked with you, I can recognize that when it's happening with me, that I notice a disconnect. But I think a lot of people don't even realize that there is that incongruency, and it creates a little bit of friction, and instead of what we're trying to create, which is attraction.
Right.
So I see the value of what you're doing. So here's a really important question, because we know what you do and we know why you do it. Who should be engaging with you? Because like everybody needs your services, but who do you really specialize in
Well,
taking care
yeah. Everyone needs a great headshot, but small business owners in particular who are, people who are competing with thousands of other people that do what they do. Those are the people that need to become memorable in the eyes of the viewer so that, people recognize them and, see a professional image of them that stands out from the images of the other people who do what they do.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
it,
So
you
say
know,
it again in a different way.
it, so, there's thousands of people who do what you do.
Okay.
How can you best represent yourself? You're so that you stand out in a sense from other people by having a picture that brings in your personality. And it's more effective if it brings in your personality and creates a positive feeling and emotional feeling with the viewer, so that when they see it, they connect with it enough to say, well, I think I want to check this person out, I'm going to read their profile.
Okay. So another example would be if I go to a fair and there's 3 vendors selling popsicles.
Right.
Okay, so they're all selling popsicles. The popsicles are about the same, the price is about the same, but the people who are serving it look very different.
Right.
And I'm
Right.
going to go to the one that resonates with me or that I think would get me, right?
Right.
Okay, so it's a differentiator and an attractor all in one.
Right. Because you might want that, popsicle stand that's more fun and whimsical. Or you might want that more serious, streamlined, clean cut popsicle. I'm envisioning the popsicle stand and the people in there and, the food truck or whatever, right? So there's
Yeah.
a different feel, like you always use the word, a different flavor.
Yeah. Yeah, that works really well in this case.
But, and I mean, that's the part where it becomes important to make sure that you're expressing yourself in your pictures. But, it's interesting because last week I had a woman in, and I don't get this really often, where someone comes in, they walk in, they look totally amazing. They barely need a touch of hairspray, a touch of powder. Their clothes fits perfectly. Their makeup is, they just look really like put together.
Okay, and I can assure everybody that was not me. That was not my experience.
Most people need help. And
Uh-huh. I'm
it's
like
not a
most
bad
people.
thing. It's what I do, right? I help people. But, so she came in just ready to go. Not only that, she was very comfortable with me. I was very comfortable with her. When she and I got together behind the camera, everything just flowed. And I had a really hard time narrowing down the pictures because she looked good in all of them. That was her
Oh,
her appearance, right?
well, lucky her.
I know, very lucky for her. She'll be used as an example many times over. So, so the difference is so then I had to narrow down, these pictures before I showed them all to her. So I narrowed them down, and I had, like I said, I had a hard time narrowing them down, but there's a lot of little details that go into, you know, just the way the light hit her face, the way the light was hitting her eyes, the angle of her face, her smile, how much teeth were showing, not showing, all these little tiny details. The angle of her face looked better this way than that way. I felt like I was more connected to her eyes visually when she was turned this way. So I narrowed it down, and she still had a lot of good shots, like 20 something. And so when we sat
Wow.
down together to look at the finished pictures, we go through them, we bump out, well, these aren't going to work. These don't fit your personality as well. I have people come up with 3 words that describe kind of a little bit about them, what they want people to know about them. And 2 of her words were powerful, or power, and joy. So when we were looking at the pictures, we were looking at, does she look joyful? Is she a happy person? I mean, she's a business coach, or she's a life coach, basically. So she looks very joyous. She wanted to make sure she'd show the joyous part of her in these pictures, yet she feels like, we need to come into our power, right? So there's this power part that she really wanted to make sure that people would get. So as we narrowed them down, we came up with like 5. We narrowed it down to 2 finally.
Okay.
And they were, like I said, they were all good, so it was tough. So they all had this joyous feel.
Okay.
One
Well,
of
that's
them,
one of her words.
wonderful word. And one of what real, and I always look for, confidence, approachability. Does she look like somebody that I can talk to? Do I feel a connection with her? Is she standing open toward me? She's looking me in the eye. And all of a sudden I just said, this is it. This picture, you look like you know your shit. Oops. Oops, I probably shouldn't have said that on air, but that's what I said to her. And she kind of got up and looked closely, and I said, this tells me you know your stuff. This picture stands out from all the pictures. It has a different feeling and it's stronger. It's got that powerful feel. And so that ended up being the picture that we chose. So there's a lot of little tiny little things, details that when you work with a professional that understands how to create an effective headshot for your purposes, that can, that's what it takes to make it happen, is hiring the right photographer to work with you on that, on those little details. So if we put them all up there together, everybody would kind of be like, yeah, those are all really nice. But if we started talking about what are the differences, what makes this one stand out amongst the others, and then if you took that one, the your stuff one, right, and put it up with a whole bunch of other people who do what she does, it would be real interesting to see how people would react to those different pictures.
Well, yeah, and everybody's looking for something different. And I think
Right.
that's one thing that we always forget is everybody's looking for something different. And that's why portrait studios like JCPenney's or no longer Sears, they all just are cookie cutters. They're doing the exact same thing, and there's no differentiation to distinguish yourself in the marketplace like what you offer. And the harder part of it is when you get a group of photos and you're like, yeah, this bunch is good, but then how do you go ahead and discern which one it is? That's when we need to get out of our own way and have an expert guide us.
Right, because it's not about us. It's about how we're perceived.
Right.
It's what we want people to see in us.
Yeah. And I really
Which is
like
it's a hard thing. It's a visual thing. So hiring a visual expert to help you is a very good idea.
I like that, visual expert.
Yeah, I think that's my new title. I'm a visual expert. I might have to write that down.
write it down, because I want to share with everybody. Stacy did my headshot, and she'll be doing another one because I got a different hairstyle since last time, and people need to see me when I walk in the door instead of that other person. So it's sort of really funny. What she says is true, but one of the things that I found most advantageous, and this is probably what customers gain when they work with you, Stacy, is the fact that you guide your customers through a self-discovery process. And it's not just how your customers show up, but it's the process itself that you're guiding us through to get to that right one.
Right.
And that right one photo is where the magic is. And I have to share, I love your concept of your 3 words to guide that, because I remember we were looking at a couple photos of me that were really good and very close but different. And it was when we went back to the 3 words that we were able to really distinguish which one it is.
Right.
So,
And I think I'm sorry, go ahead.
so there's a lot that you provide and offer your customers for them to benefit. Is there something else that you'd like for everybody to know about, or did we already cover it?
Um, well, I think, the headshot is just the beginning,
Okay.
and when you add more photographs of yourself and, your products or services to your website, your marketing materials, you're creating another touch point for someone to connect with you emotionally, find out more about you and connect with you. So, creating a series of, pictures that are effectively saying what you want to to show your viewer. Those other pictures might be a little bit different than your headshot, because your headshot's just like, boom, your first impression, bring someone in to find out more about you, going on to reading your profile, checking out your website. And that's where, you can use photographs to, show people how you work, what your environment is about, what it looks like, if you have a product or service that you sell, how you can, this is where it becomes kind of tricky. How do we, do we use props? What kind of environment do we use? But really, it's just creating another touch point for people to connect with you.
Got it. So that's like on some websites you see people that they'll have different poses and different clothes, and they'll be like having their hand positioned one way, so they're holding something or pointing at something, all of that, but it's creating an impression of who they are, whether they're serious or fun or whatever they're trying to get me to understand about them.
Yeah, it brings up more. It's a way for you to show other parts of your personality, because you can't do it all in a headshot. That's 1,000 words. Yeah,
it's really only 850.
Only 3.
Okay. So now you've debunked the myth.
Now I'm in trouble.
You'll be getting hate emails from all your colleagues. What did you say? Okay, so we know that won't be true, but this personality branding, is that what you call it?
I call it, like your business personality. Yeah, I guess personality branding is a word that
for your business. So I've seen dentists do that, which is really cool because I get a different flavor of who a dentist is, other than the guy with the bright lights digging in my mouth.
The shirt, tie, and the white jacket, like scary. I'm getting
Yeah, totally. And we've seen, what you're talking about. We've seen all the big names have these types of photos, but the cool thing is, what you're saying is, it doesn't have to be exclusively just for big names and big photo shoots with big price tags. There's a practical way to do it for the small business owner. And that's what you provide.
Right. I mean, and I shouldn't say there's not a big price tag. It depends upon what you want. There could be a big price tag, but yeah, it's not like Coca-Cola or something, what they would pay for a photo shoot. It's
right. Or what Oprah would pay or something like that.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, so there's a practical approach to this, that there is a way that you can reflect this about yourself and your business and still have it be affordable.
Right.
Okay.
Definitely.
Okay. So I bet right about now everybody's saying, "Oh my gosh, I really need to get a hold of Stacy because I need some help with this." So I know one of the ways that they can get a hold of you is directly through your website, and the other way would be through the app. So do you want to share those with us, Stacy?
Yeah, the website is www.stacykaat.com. That's spelled STACYKAAT.com. That's the best way, because you can go into my website, go to my contact form, shoot me a message, schedule an appointment to talk. That's really the easiest, or maybe not the easiest, but the best way to contact me, because that way you fill out a little information thing and then I know a little bit more about you before you contact me. You can connect with me on LinkedIn, Facebook, or Instagram, just by putting in Stacy Kaat photo or Stacy Kaat photography, and you'll find me.
Yep. And another way to simplify it is to go to our app, Brilliant Biz Book,
Yeah.
and if you click on Stacy Kaat, it will take you right to her website.
Yeah. So that's the easiest way.
Yeah, because a lot of our listeners are actually listening to the podcast via that app. So we can,
correct.
It's just an all-in-one that we have set up for y'all.
I forget that. Yes.
Well, I think it's important in your case to mention some of the visual social platforms, because you're a visual person and people are looking for that type of stuff.
Right.
So, no problem with that at all. I totally get that. I want to talk more and more and more and more and more because this is a really hot topic that I think many small business owners and entrepreneurs really haven't embraced yet or played with. Maybe they don't
I
know
agree.
yet, so they can't embrace it. But this can make a big difference. I know I'm doing a revamp on my website, and I'm building it out, and I'm incorporating Stacy on it to make sure that we know where these images that we were referencing before need to go on my site in different places. So there's a lot of fun stuff that you can do with this once you're like, oh, this really would separate me from the masses.
Right.
It is a differentiator.
Yep.
So before we start wrapping up, I know you have 3 tips that you believe all small business owners should be remembering all the time. Lay it on us.
Right. Okay. So your headshot is your first impression.
Okay, headshot.
Don't hire the cheapest, hire the best. Invest in your headshot. It helps with confidence, visibility, credibility, differentiation, and all that stuff. And use that same headshot everywhere.
Okay, one
That was
headshot.
one tip.
One headshot, first impression, use everywhere.
Right.
Got it.
Your headshot's not about you. It's how you make others feel. It's how you're perceived.
Okay, so perception rules.
Right. And the more pictures you give, it's another touch point to connect with your viewer on an emotional level. And that could lead to them wanting to know more about you and purchasing your products or services. So it's a good idea to have your headshot and then more for your website, social media banners, all those other places where you could use pictures.
Okay, and that I think is a really important thing because we're shifting in this century from a lot of in-person business, and I always say we need to blend in-person and virtual.
Right.
But when we don't have the opportunity to continually meet people in person, these different photos where we're doing our business branding, personality, business person. What is it again?
Business personality branding. How about that?
Okay. Business personality branding, BPB. Got it. That's like we keep bumping into them, oh, I met them at the grocery store. Oh, I met them at this meeting. Oh, check it out. I saw them at this event. Whereas our different pages on our sites and our platforms provide that. And that's sort of how, if we start thinking about it that way,
Yeah.
it helps for them to understand who we are and that they may want to engage with us or
Well,
explore that.
and it's funny because I have a quick little story about that. So Saturday, I went to my girlfriend's art opening, and
Okay.
the person who owns the gallery came right up to me like he knew me. And he only knew me because I had been putting posts out there about the art show. And since it was at his gallery, his space, he was watching that. And he
Ah.
came right up to me right away and he's like, "You're Stacy, aren't you?" And I'm like, "Yeah." Like I didn't know if I met him before or not. I had not met him before. And he recognized me right away.
Ah.
I mean, there was the connection of the gallery, but right away that gave us a conversation starting point. He felt like he knew me a little bit already. It was when people come up to me at an event where I'm speaking or an event like a networking event and they say, "I looked at your website and I feel like I already know you." I mean, that's pretty cool.
Uh-huh.
I had someone say, "I looked at your website and I knew you would be fun." And I was like, "You got it." That's right, because that's part of who I am. And I like to definitely present myself that way.
Yep. Fun and zany works for you. And
Yeah.
well, it's true. I mean, really, when you think about it, you and I were in 2 different events together. And it was at one point on a break where you said, Maggie Mongan. And it was just shocking to me. And you said, you're everywhere. I feel like I know you already. And I was blown away because I had just cranked up my social media machine
Right.
for, I think, only 2.5 or 3 months at that point. But it was the power of it was working.
Yeah.
And
Well, I met you. We connected on Facebook, I believe, and LinkedIn. And then you started posting. And then I started seeing you on there. So even though I hadn't seen you for a couple months, I was seeing you.
we were building relationship.
We were, because I was reading your things and I may have been commenting and liking or whatever. And then we met in person again. And well, you know what that led to.
Right. Right. And that it's the same story as your gallery. It's the
Right.
exact same story. And I think there's power in this, that it works for us in a lot of different ways. And that's what I really want to share, is this is powerful. And small business owners, if you haven't yet, start reading Stacy's chapter. I'm going to share with you in a moment where it is in the book again. Stacy, I want to talk more, but we can't.
Got it.
Thank you. Thank you. Listeners, this is how you can learn more and engage with #1 best-selling author Stacy Kaat. Start by reading chapter 4 in the book, Brilliant Breakthroughs for the Small Business Owner. That's the blue book. And gift yourself your business's performance. Oh man, boost your business's performance by accepting the invitation that Stacy has at the end of her chapter on her author's page. You are going to be amazed at what you can accomplish when you work with Stacy. Plus, there's a lot of other social media handles, like the one she just said. They're all there at the end of her chapter for you to connect with her too. And here's something that's really cool. Right now, you can see everything about the book and how to get a hold of it and Stacy Kaat by going to the Books app, Brilliant Biz Book. That's all one word, Brilliant Biz Book. It doesn't matter which app store you go to. Go ahead and type that in, and you'll see that we're there waiting for you. And once you download that puppy, get in there and click on Ask an Expert, and you'll see Stacy Kaat's name. Click on it and type her question if you have a question about your photos and what you're trying to do and how to engage with her. She will go ahead and reply back to you. I think that's a pretty cool bonus, that you can guide us even virtually. You will, won't you?
Sure.
Oh, okay, cool. Don't want to say something that's not true. And thank you, Stacy. Your wisdom sharing today is awesome, as it always is. Thanks.
Thank you. Thanks for having me today, Maggie. It was fun.
Cool. Thanks. And listeners, we appreciate you listening to the Brilliant Breakthroughs podcast, where you learn how to create more brilliant breakthroughs for your small business. Until next week, shine brightly.